Davey, 3 Dice Board Games again. Following on from the last video, we're just going to pick the game up from where it was, okay? So players are still in the same position. We've covered off the 2-minute mark, so we've moved around 2 movements and 2 lots of movements, 2 lots of action stages. And what I'm going to explain also now is the combinations that can happen here. So you've got a winger with the puck still out on towards the boards, defenseman sitting off him. All the other players have come forward in that last movement stage, and defensive players are obviously tracking them throughout. And pretty much most players are in that over that blue line. Okay, so what I'm going to say here is this guy will check his skill. So the left wing is number 9. He's got a medium skill, so his passing skill is a 6. So off of this list, we get that his passing skills are number 6. We then go to the back of the booklet where the charts are. The distance in hexagons from the left winger with the puck to the centerman just inside here is 11. So now you look at this chart here. So on this side here, you've got the passing skill. So he's got a passing skill of 6. The distances in hexagons across the top, so 11. So that tells you that when you come from 6 across to 11 and where that meets, you've got a 3. So that tells you that at the bottom it explains that it's the lowest number that's required. So because it's saying that it requires a 3, you can roll a 3, 4, 5 or 6 to make that pass complete. Okay, so we'll roll the dice for that pass. It gets a 6, okay? So that pass is complete. So the pass is made from that left winger into the centerman there. Within the rules, it explains that if there's a defensive player in an imaginary line between the 2 players involved in the pass, then he can intercept that pass. In this instance, he isn't within the 2 hexagons of the imaginary line through the pass, so there's no exception there to have an interception of that pass, so the pass is complete. Okay. What I haven't done, unfortunately, is that I didn't do a movement stage there. Okay, but in order for that to work, it's fine. What I'll do is I'll move 2 of the, so I'll drive the net with this right winger. Okay, so he's moving forward 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So he's just coming in towards the goal net. Defenseman will back up with him. So the defensive role there. And then we'll have the right defenseman of that team. As we know in the game, he's just going to more likely gain the blue line and defensively sit up at the blue line at the top. Winger's going to come inside him and just sit inside as if he's covering that on the point there. And then we'll have the same with the left defenseman. He's just going to cut inside into the blue line. And that player was covering him, so he's just going to sit off there. Okay. So that's the 2 movements from the offense team, 2 movements from the defensive team, 1 from the offensive team, 1 from the defensive team, and then we'll look at the action stage, done the action stage as we did that pass. So I've kind of done it in the reverse role just because I got ahead of myself. So that pass was done. So we've got caught up now. So the movements have been done, the action's been done. We've now got 1 round of movements and actions to complete this next sequence. So what we'll do is this left winger, he's going to drive the net from there. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. The defenseman's tracking back with him. Okay, and then the centerman who got the puck from the pass, he's moving forward 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And the other centerman's coming off of him. He's just sitting there. Okay, so just to recap there, we obviously are mucked up, which happens. The movement stages should have been done, then the action stage of that pass, but we rectified it. So the movements were done, then that pass was made. Thinking about it, if he didn't paint the pass and he carried on with the puck, that would be part of the movement, obviously. So he could have drove the net with the puck and got to a shooting position. He could have passed to another player from the movements. And then from the movements, obviously he's got the puck, the defenseman could step forward. If he closes the gap for no hexagons, he'll intermittently do a body check, which is explained in the rules. If he sits off one hexagon, he's lining up to do a poke check, and that's the choice of that defensive game player. In the rules, it explains at that point that if you do a risk of a poke check or a body check, ultimately if you lose that by not getting the dice required, then you'll lose ground on that player with the puck, because from the back of that, if it's unsuccessful, he moves away with the puck. Okay, so defensively, in the game itself, players will keep a distance, keep tracking people. You get to a point coming in towards the goal net, are you going to commit, overcommit and lose that poke check or body check and then ultimately lose the offence more, or are you going to let the goalkeeper take the netminder rather take the save? Okay, so that's things to think about in the game. The rules explain that going forward. So now we're in a position where all the first round of movement's been done with that pass, second round of movement's been done. We're now in a position where this guy can take a shot on goal. So he's 2, 4, 6, 7 hexagons from the goal. His skill level is low, so we go to check on that in the booklet. So the low skill for a centerman on shooting is 6. We then said about the distance there being 7. We go back to this chart here. So you've got the passing chart above and the shooting chart in the middle there. And then below, just to explain, that's the netminder save chart, which we'll come on to in a second. So player skill of 6, distance is 7. So he requires a 3 on that dice roll. So we'll get the dice roll done. He rolls a 1, okay? So that tells you the shot's not complete. And in the rules it explains that if the if it isn't rolled, the offensive game player now rolls 2 dice, and with the result we'll get the action there. So he rolls an 8. It explains in the rules that if he rolls a 2, 3, 4, a 9, 10, 11 or 12, then the puck has missed the goal net and rebounded off the barrier behind. If he rolls a 5, 6, 7 or 8, then it either hits the crossbar or one of the goal net posts. And then there's a dice roll to determine that. Okay, so we'll do the dice roll on that. So what will happen now is the defensive team will roll for where that puck lands. In front of the goal net, there's a series of numbers within the hexagons in front. So you roll 2 dice, and whatever that dice roll is where that rebound will end up in front of the goal net. So the rolls a 7. So the shot's been done, hits the post, and it comes out and rests on hexagon with the number 7 on it. So now what happens is it becomes a turnover. So the 2 nearest players to that puck, one from the defense team, one from the offense team, play out a turnover. Now the way a turnover is done, initially it's on the awareness skill of a player. So I'll just quickly go back to the thing. So what we're looking at is the right defenseman is the closest player to the puck there for the defensive team, and the right winger on the offensive team is the nearest. So we'll look at this quickly here. So right defenseman's number 18. He's got a low skill. So his awareness is 5. And the other winger is number 14. He's got a medium. So his awareness skills 5 as well. Okay, so what that tells us is equal. So then we move on to the distance. So the hexagons for the right winger is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From the right defenseman, it's 1, 2, 3. So right defenseman now gains control of that puck. And then we now look at going. So now the home team, who are on the black bases, as explained earlier, they're now the offensive team. Shots been taken from the away team. shot, the dice required wasn't rolled. Rolled 2 dice. Explanation is that it either misses the net, hits the barrier behind, and then comes out in front of the net somewhere, and we could look at that another day, or you'll see it in the rules as you play. In this instance, it was deemed that it hit the post or the crossbar, so it's come out. We then roll 2 dice, determine which hexagon it lands on, and then we determine who gets the picks the puck up from that shot. And as it was the result of the awareness was both the same. If the awareness on one player was higher, obviously he would have gained control of the puck, but they were both the same. So then we look at the distance. If the distance was the same, the rules explains that it's 1 dice roll per team. So 1 on the home team, 1 on the away team, and then that obviously determines who gets control of that puck. So the home team got control of that puck. Don't forget, we've just gone through a movement stage, action stage, movement stage, action stage, which represents 1 minute rather. And then, so we move that forward, 3 minutes played in this period. So now what will happen going forward, the team on the black bases, the home team, they'll now move 2 players on a movement, and then the defense will move 2 on movements, then 1 on each team movements, and then we'll look at the actions going for that, and then we'll go through again, 1 from each team, finalize all the movements, and then play another action stage, and then that is the 4th minute played, and that's how it's played. So just going forward again, lots of options going forward from this as to whether this guy skates with the puck out, whether he makes whether players move and then a pass is made. It's up to the individual who's playing it. So that's that one for today. Have a good day, guys. Bye.